Greetings, everyone. This is for Scorpio. We are going to do Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Please do make sure that you don't take this word for word, I guess is one way to put it, but consider your entire chart. It is helpful to know that you probably are, well, it's not mercurial because that would be related to Mercury, but you're more like Pluto, Mars, so you have some fire in you. You probably get along really well with Cancers and maybe like Taurus or something like that. But anyway, this is for Scorpio, the Sun, Moon, Rising, and do look at your entire birth chart. Some of these aspects will apply to you, some will not. And just hopefully this is going to be useful to you and encouraging. So let's get started. I'm going to clear the board and we'll just kind of go from there and see what comes up. Well, that was a good one, y'all. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. This is Timeless and will find you when you are most in need for some words of encouragement. There's a lot of wackadoodle stuff going on right now. For this particular way I'm doing these things, since it is timeless, it's irrelevant what's going on astrologically at the time I'm doing this, but these things may have more meaning to you when you do find it. Gosh, that's sufficiently vague. If you would like a personal reading to get a little more detail, have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me and check out my website. I am going to be adjusting the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. All right. Don't know why that kind of went through. But anyway, you can go ahead and check the my website. For some reason, you can't just go to Auric Vibe 1111.com. I don't know what happened, but you have to put, I think it's like either dot or slash GoDaddy. But I had it set up in Bluehost, but for some reason, when I closed the Bluehost, it killed the website. So I had to put in the GoDaddy extension on it. So we'll see what happens. My goodness, we're getting a lot here for Scorpio. Lots going on for everybody, but whatever it is that you need to hear, we're going to figure this out together. You will notice that my pronouns will change. I will probably start saying we because that's my connection to what's coming through. This did turn face up, and it is the Hierophant. We're being asked to not be quite so rigid. And one of the reasons that sometimes we feel rigid or stayed in our decisions is that we might get a little irritated if we're challenged, but it's important for us to remain flexible. This lady does not look particularly flexible. She looks very matter of fact. And that is sometimes good, but always in the background. Look at the circle behind her. That is the sun, man. Sun, this lady is lit. I mean, you know what I mean. Not in a slang way. But she has, we have everything within us that is required to do and reach our goals. To do what needs to be done to reach our goals, maybe is a better way to put it. She's very grounded, but she always, not always, also has a connection with her mind, her heart. Look at that feather. That feather is pretty much on her heart space. So sometimes we are not realizing that we are already protected, and her hands are up and over her head. That's very exposed. So from an etheric standpoint, she is very much protected. That was interesting. All right, so, wow, 2 major arcanas, the Hermit. We might have a tendency to close ourselves away. If you feel that that's necessary, do it. always keep in mind that when we are settled, we are feeling safe, that it's not healthy for us to stay that way. And sometimes it's difficult to break out of that. Oh my goodness, another one. Justice. So again, this is about balance, isn't it? The sun is behind her with her wings extended. The sun is behind... Well, is this the sun or the moon? It's hard to tell. I think this is the moon. She has the light on her sword. She is definitely bedecked. Now, the interesting thing I just noticed about her, and you may not be able to see it, I will try to hold it steady, but you can see there's a slightly different color on her, around her eyes. That's like a very, very, like a gossamer type covering, like a mask. It is a mask. So sometimes we have to use appropriate filters to see what we need to see to regain the balance. And I'm going to have to say, sometimes those scales that she's holding, I don't know if you can really see it, but this one is higher than the other one. And that is sometimes how we equalize or balance for justice. You know what I mean? So if something's out of balance, we might need to go find something to put onto here, or maybe even take from here to level it. So we might be feeling a little bit of out of kilter, but that might be because we're in the process of adjusting. And that might be this meditative state that we could be, kind of on the edge of. There's something about the geese. It's less about, because I think the Seven of Swords is a very strategic card, but there's something about birds, something about the geese specifically that needs to be paid attention to. Right now, it is, when I'm doing this, it's spring, and there are a lot of chickens being born and little birds being born right now, eggs being laid. So maybe this is fostering some of those ideas that we're just on the beginning of, and we need to be more strategic with what we're doing, especially when it comes to our thoughts and our words. So mind your thoughts. She is, right? And even the individual behind these doors, the hermit, who's locked themselves away to find the balance. Sorry, I took a little bit of a sip, poured myself some orange. I put orange and water and ice. All right, so anyway, High Priestess. Do you guys really, this is like 1, 2, 3. How about number 4? So 4 out of 5 cards are majors. Wow. Wow. We are crossing over to exceed the boundaries of what this represents. This is a High Priestess, and we are beyond that when we have the realization of this fact. It's not ego. I'm hearing a lot of these little minions coming in and saying, oh, who do you think you are? You think you're something and something special. Yeah, kind of, but not really kind of, but yes. We all have these unique facets to self because we are all facets of the one. We're just that can get really, really deep. I could be here for 2 hours talking about that one, and I would bore you to tears. But anyway, oh my goodness, tears. Okay, this sounds kind of different, but I'm going to say it. Star. There is a star just below her eye. I don't know if you can even really see it. I'm going to point right to it. There, we can kind of see it there. That is a star. And what are tears? Tears can, because I say, it's hard to say. I got to just say it, and it might sound a little flaky. Sorry about that. Hey, it is what it is. It's almost like the stars that we see in the literal sky, what they're calling stars, are the tears of the one. But tears not of sorrow, but of joy. And immediately after saying that, the thought came to my head of what my mother used to tell me when I was a little girl, that the clouds, because I love to look at the stars, I love to look at the sky during the day, and she said, probably while I was, several times I'm sure, but when I was looking up at the clouds, she would say that the clouds are the dust of God's feet. And maybe that was true back in the day, but we kind of know what's going on with that. It's the wrong deity, if you will. Not really a deity, but one who has the ego of a jealous deity, who is, oh man, that's like going in a whole different direction. But we have this within us, that when we realize that we are greater than, we gave birth to the stars. Wow. And now we are manifested here in this realm. So it's like if we realize who we are this Hierophant, the Hermit, we are Justice, and we are the High Priestess. Whew. Wow. We got some traveling on the way. Astral travel, maybe. And this is what this Hermit might be for. The Hermit might be for us to be able to travel in those other realms. She is on a sea of clouds. Oh my gosh. Cloud and stars. Holy crow. And it looks like yads. Yads are blessings from the, what would you say? Want to use the right word. From the God of us. From the one. From the source. Wow, we're traveling. This is a journey for us. This dude is so happy. I love this card. He has a pearl over his left shoulder that could be one of those stars. He has several pearls around him. They might be considered bubbles, but I see them as pearls. But it's all emanating from us. He has wings. They're like watery wings. This is us being solid with our emotions. And sometimes that's hard for us water signs that Scorpio is to have control over that, because we are extremely passionate. Wow. Just coming out. Just saying. She is a lady of passion, doesn't give a rip, of confidence, so that we'll be able, this is like the foundation, and this is the establishment of our journey. And it's going to result, it's going to result in a magnificent transformation. This is like, there's two things going on here with this. So the little girl can be us. Maybe it's our higher self. Maybe it's the higher self being fed by the one, the true source. The true source, the one, feeding our higher self and helping us transform and expand into something greater, into something better. Yeah, wow. I had gone to this deck beforehand, and I knew I was going to have to get some clarifiers. Otherwise, I would have just kind of said, hey, like, share, subscribe. Pass it along for anybody you might think it might help. So, yeah. And we're going to get some other clarifiers on this, too. One of the guys who's really an inspiration for me is Chris Rock on the Minnow Pond Tarot. And he has some really good readings. They're really short. They're really concise. And I would suggest checking him out. He's just a fun guy to listen to. fungi. Yeah, I know, mushroom. He's not a mushroom. He's very, very intuitive. So check him out. This is not a paid ad or anything like that. I've just watched him for a few years, and I would not recommend. Oh, I would not recommend anybody unless I am 100% convinced that they are a tremendously talented individual. Definitely an inspiration. Oi, oi, oi. Message in a bottle. And I'm immediately told to go look in the book, because sometimes I try to pull up the intuitive answer to some of these. I have to look for the right book. Some of the books I don't have right here. It is a red book. There it is. Tucked at the back of the drawer. The drawer smells really good. I wish I had smell-o-vision, because it's just amazing. Message in a bottle. So there's a pelican, and it's standing on a bottle in the sea, and you can see coral and clouds and the waves coming in around the bottle. And we'll see what this lady has to say. Of course, it's communication. And weren't we just talking about communication? This, to me, is communication. She is hearing from the one, and she is communicating that, what she hears from the one, to us. And it's spontaneous. Communication sign, a kledum, the ancient name for a spontaneous oracle delivered innocently by the speaker. Doesn't she look innocent? Pointing the way to your highest good. So she is trying to influence us. And in turn, we need to be her to influence others. It doesn't mean you have to start a YouTube channel or quit your job to go stand on a street corner and holler the end is near sort of thing. But it does mean that we can live by example. Right? Spirit sends you signs when you ask for them, when you ask, and when you believe, you will receive them. Right? Let's see what else is in here, because it's a lot. We can allow ourselves to become fluent in the language of symbols, oracles, and omens, and they come to us as a bird flying. True story, bird flying. Might not even be a bird flying. Most of the time I see birds on the telephone wires, and they watch me when I drive into work. I drive through some very rural areas to get to work for about 35 plus minutes to get in. And one day we have some big ditches on the edge of the farm fields for drainage, and I don't know why this is relevant, but I love seeing the birds. I saw a bald eagle in the trench, and it was watching me. And it's not like I was the only car going up and down the road. It's not that remote. But that bird turned its head as I drove by. So don't ignore those signs. We want things as we want them, but sometimes they're red flags, right? They're trying to get our attention. She uses different verbiage. I don't think it's appropriate here. So it doesn't sit right with us when we don't acknowledge them. Now here she says, don't ignore the signs. We're given these signs for a reason. And you know, people say, I keep seeing 444, which I do often. So there's something in that message that I'm not quite getting yet, okay? So we have to, me included, we have to start taking greater measure, not just to acknowledge, but to initiate and facilitate the change within ourselves. So we talked about the 5-point star, right? It was on her cheek. It still is. All right. I hope you laugh. Happy, happy, happy. Happy, happy, happy. That should be us. Happy, happy, happy. All righty. What is happy, happy, happy? I like this deck. It's very complex. Sometimes I can get messages off of it right away. But this is like all of our chakras. We have this cosmic egg. Oh my gosh. Spirit is hatching. The spirit, our higher self, is hatching us. Metamorphosis, that kind of stuff. And it's glorious. joy, contentment, sense of fulfillment, and feeling that all is well. So you're going to know when you need to take heed of those messages. So once we start taking this into consideration and connecting to these messages, this is the result. Happy, 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 right? These are things that we yearn for. And these aren't things outside of ourselves. We might perceive that in our reality that we're in right now, but none of this is outside of who and what we are, right? So we need to start taking pride in our accomplishments, showing gratitude to ourselves, right? When we show gratitude to ourselves and appreciate who and what we are, we're going to have a better time while we're here. Happy, happy, happy. This is not fake it till you make it. Not a fan. Sometimes we have to do that. That might be a Band-Aid, short-term fix. Okay? This is not something we should be doing on the regular. And we need to be doing it now. This is the here and now. She's even got a banner to celebrate it. She's got a banner to celebrate it. I got this the other night. The Fates. She's got all those 5 pointed stars too. She looks pretty awesome. All right? And this is about discernment. There are things in our life that we never have control over, and the conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by our past experiences. Those may be fated, preordained by us. It says by spirit, but I say it was preordained by us. We made the decision to go through what we're going through. Hard words to hear. Trust me. I can feel people saying BS. But again, BS, that's part of your belief system. And there needs to be some additional healing that goes on. Accept the mystery and work with those events and our current circumstances and what they need to teach us. This is wisdom, and it's in the serenity, not necessarily of prayer, but of, because she says prayer here, and I don't feel that that's accurate. I feel like that the prayer is maybe, us dwelling, meditating, and just be careful it's not ruminating, because that would not be good. Oh my gosh, this came up too. The leg up, a leg up. And we always have the help that we need when we need it. So, leg up. This is also, if we're feeling like we're worn out and sometimes we need a little bit of extra help, we have to be open to that help. And I know that I'm a big time proponent of making that shift in my own life, because I have to do everything myself. There's no one here to help me. If the garbage doesn't go out, if I don't take it out, the grass doesn't get cut, if I don't cut it, that kind of stuff. But it's just everything. It's just bills don't get paid unless I pay them. Bills are not going to be paid unless I have an income, and I have to do whatever needs to be done to bring that income in. So sometimes when we are used to doing things for ourselves, it's very, very difficult for us to ask for help. And we might still need to do a little bit of work, because that little guy is like trying to pull itself up onto the big bear. So I think that was it. Yes. All right, thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope this is helpful, and I hope to see you again soon. So take care, and we'll see you soon again. Bye.